If you enjoy sports, then you need to read Hit Count by Chris Lynch, which is an exhilarating sports fiction novel about football. The book is about two main characters, and their names are Arlo and Lloyd. Lloyd is Arlo's older brother. Arlo follows in Lloyd's footsteps by joining their local high school football team. Soon after that, Lloyd drops from the football team, and his life takes a turn for the worse. Meanwhile, Arlo is making a name for himself by racking up hits during games. His nickname ends up becoming Starlo because he's the star player on his football team. Finally, his coach pulls him from the lineup because his hit count becomes really high, and these aren't just regular hits he's dishing out to the opposing team. These are devastating hits that could injure people. What he doesn't realize, though, is that the hits he is making doesn't just have an effect on them, but they also have an effect on his body and brain themselves. This book was interesting yet informational. It was interesting because it grabbed my attention from the start, and it was a really fast-paced book because once I started reading, I didn't want to stop, and it was informational because it told a lot about how football players are these days. The main character, he faced many problems throughout the book while he was playing football. First, his brother drops out of football and starts getting into drugs and stuff due to too many head injuries. Soon after that, his older brother is arrested, which puts a lot of stress on Arlo, and Arlo also becomes very angered by his older brother. Lloyd also likes pulling and pushing at Arlo because Arlo is so much better than him at football. Sandy, his girlfriend, also stops coming to Arlo's games because she is worried that he will get injured, which leads to them getting in a fight and eventually breaking up. Finally, after making varsity, he receives another head injury and is benched. This causes Arlo to give up his dream of becoming a pro football player, and he has to find an alternative to football in order to cope with his anger and stress. My favorite character would have to be Arlo because me and him have so much in common with our lives and the sports that we play. This also causes me to kind of relate to Arlo because me and him both love sports. Within sports, we also love to do our best and even aim to excel in the sport by playing harder no matter what the consequences are. My favorite part of the book was when Arlo finally made varsity because I know what the feeling is to make the varsity spot on any team and to be the best out of all the people on your team. So it's a connection I kind of made with the main character. My least favorite part about this book was when Sandy and Arlo broke up because he was already stressed out and mad at the world, so when she did that, it kind of just added on to the problems that he already was going through. If I could change one thing in this book, I say it would have to be between Arlo and his girlfriend breaking up or how his brother was kicked out of the army due to drug use because that would have made the story more like heartfelt because Arlo would have had to have either worried about his girlfriend and his relationship or about how his brother was being sent overseas and how his mom holds up to that. I would really recommend this book because it portrays how young football players or sports players in general love to take things to the next level without taking in the effects of how they play just so they can make a name for themselves. A reader that is into sports and loves reading like faster paced books, this would be a book that I really recommend, and I think that they would really enjoy the novel Hit Count.